Hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to the stream and another chapter working on that guy right there. That is our 98 Firebird ram air. Run the intro. We'll get started. Okay guys, we're back and we're going to continue on the build, and I feel like the end is near. I feel like we're getting close. Whether we finish today or not, I don't know, but we'll soon find out. I decided to do a little bit of panel liner and do some panel lining in our doors and a little bit on our front bumper and our rear bumper, so I just need to clean those up. And that's really about it. I did get our seat belts finished. Did about an hour's worth of work working on the seat belts. I'll show you guys. I'm really happy with the way they turned out. I got them looped through our headrest loops there, and I added the buckles to them. You can see right in there. You see the little buckle hanging down right by my finger there. Buckles hanging down. And then we got our passenger side one. That one's a little easier to see if the camera would focus. There we go. Yeah, seat belts are hanging down there, they're looped, and yeah, it looks great. That's the first time I've ever done seat belts, and I'm really happy with the way that turned out. So I just need to clean up our panel liner a little bit here. So I'm going to get some mineral spirits or white spirits and do a little cleanup on here. I did a little bit around the bird here because I wanted the detail on our bird to pop just a little bit. Just a little bit, not crazy amount. Just so when you look, you know for sure there's a little bird on the front there, right? Just a little bit, not crazy amounts. And same with our Pontiac on the back here. Again, didn't want to go crazy with it, just so when you look at that, you can definitely tell from afar that Pontiac is in there. I chose to do gray panel liner as opposed to black because black would be a little too strong as far as the contrast with the white paint. Black would make it look too much like, I don't know, like a drawing or something, and we don't want that. Don't want it to look like a drawing. There we go. And that was it. I want to do a little bit under the hood here too, but I need to put some gloss clear on our panels in here on the under hood, because the body is gloss, but under the hood I just painted it with the white primer, and so if I try and do panel liner on that, it's going to just soak into the paint, and I don't want that. It becomes a real nightmare to try and clean up. So I want to get a nice shiny gloss in there, but I don't want to try masking everything off and spray, so I'm just going to use some Tamiya X22, and I'm just going to brush it on underneath the hood there. Okay, I actually might thin this out. This is pretty thick, so I'm going to try thinning this out. I tried thinning some X22 once before with lacquer thinner, and it just clouded it up. It turned it almost like milk. And I know that Tamiya paints are compatible with Mr. Hobby, so I'm going to try some Mr. Hobby leveling thinner. I'm going to pour a little in here. I don't need a lot, just need a little bit. But I want to pour some leveling thinner into this. And mix it up, because this is really thick. Where's my Mr. Hobby leveling thinner? Right here. That's not my leveling thinner. That's my regular thinner. This is my leveling thinner. So let's try that, and let's pour a little in here too. Thin that out in there a little bit. Why not, eh? Why not? It doesn't hurt to thin it out a little bit. That should be okay. Put that aside. Let's mix this up a little bit here. I did this before, and I did this with lacquer thinner, and it just turned into a milk. Went from nice clear to a milk, and that just sucked. I did not like that. That was not what I was going for. But our Mr. Hobby seems to be fine. So I'm just going to brush in here and give this a nice little coat of clear gloss. And cover this up. And we can go from there. I'm not looking to do anything super fancy. It just needs to look like it matches the body a little better. And the nice thing about that is I can actually seal in that one decal. So that's good. I want to get the sides of our fenders here too. And this little guy. There we go. And of course, the front here too. I'm not going to bother with the little water bottle thing. There's a little bottle there, I don't know what it is. But I'm going to leave that flat white and have everything else gloss. Okay. So with that done, I want to get down in the sides here too. Might as well complete it, you know. Funny thing is, I got all my brake lines under there now. I don't know if you guys saw that. If you notice, I got brake lines in there, and I've got those all done. So brake lines are all done right there. Okay, let's turn this around so you can see a little bit better. Brake lines are done on my little proportioning valve there. She's all done. Okay, that's about it. That's done. I might as well pour the remnant of this into here. Why waste? Why waste paint when you don't have to, right? Alright. I will clean up my brush and we can move on to the next step. The next step being putting the chassis to the body. I did discover this piece right here. It was in the kit. Okay, this guy here looks like some kind of a hose contraption. So I painted it, started getting painted, and then I realized there isn't any spot for it. So I went back into the instructions and looked through every page of our instructions, and there is no spot for this. So this is obviously some leftover from another kit. Maybe it's on the Camaro kit. I don't know what this is for, but it's not for this Firebird. So that's an extra part that I painted for nothing. Last time we got our interior put in, that's step number 7. So step number 7B is the completed chassis going to the body. Let's see how this fits now that everything's all in there. Everything all in there. We're going to see. We're going to do this kind of delicately as we can. The biggest challenge is going to be the back wheels. I'll have to spread that body out a little bit here. Let's put that down. Pull that out. There we go. Looks like we're going to drop in all just perfect. Almost. There we go. We're in. We're in, guys. And everything lines up. Okay, so that's it. We're in. Yay. Yay, we're in. Alright, so gluing points. Before, I've just slathered glue along the sides here and called that done. That doesn't look like that's really, I don't like doing that so much because then I wind up having to do this and clamp it kind of thing and hold it until the glue sets. It looks like deep inside here we've got a contact point all the way across, so we can, down in there, I'll get that angle for you so you can see, right across there, that's contacting there, so I can put some glue on there for the back. And in the front, we have this point here, can glue on right on that side, right in there, and go doink, and that'll glue together like that. So, I actually need to kind of pull this out a little bit now, so that I can get some glue in there, and then drop the body down. So let's just lift this out again. I'm going to do this. Okay. And I already know it's this point right across here. I'm going to be gluing right across there. I'm going to do that first. To do that, I'm going to use this stuff, because this stuff will allow me to slather it on there in a nice big bead. And get that on there. Go. Okay, we're in. We're in and we're touching. Good. So I want to hold that like that for a little bit, because the front is a little bit flexible, but I need to have the back kind of solidified in its spot in order to do this. I think I could put a little clamp on there. Let's see. Is that just going to slide off, or are you going to hold? That's going to hold. So I might wind up having to hold this physically like this on the back to keep enough pressure to keep it down with that clamp on the front. So I feel like it wants to lift. It also wants to spill my glue everywhere. Oh, that was close. I'm glad I had my lid on there even if it wasn't done all the way. That was a close one. Okay, we're going to put a bunch of glue in here and in here, and I might actually want to use my thick stuff too. Put a nice thick bead in there and get that to hold really nice. I am squeezing this back part pretty good just to keep it together. I could try putting a clamp back here too and see how it holds. We'll just see, because this is kind of just a bare this is flexible, so I'm a little hesitant to try clamping it, because the clamp might just bend it. We'll see what it does. Yeah, it's because of the curvature back here, it's just going to slide off. Clamp's not going to help me on the back. Now, if I had a great big C clamp, I could put that here, just hold it like that, and that would work that way. I'm going to try letting go and just see what it does back here. If I let it go, yeah, it starts to lift away. So as soon as I let it go, it's going to lift away. So I'm winding up just having to hold it. I'm going to grab my C clamp here. Even though it is big and bulky and heavy, it at least will hold it permanently. Well, not permanently, it'll hold it until I let it go. Let's get that lined up on here. Until it touches and actually holds, just like that. So you want it to hold, but at the same time, I don't want to put so much force on it that I squish the car, you know what I mean? I just want it to hold enough that I don't have to stress my hand holding the car.
1 hour later.
Okay, so our back is holding. Our front, I've put in a couple of little, just a couple of shims of this super thin styrene, and I shoved them in there and glued them in there to help hold the front in place. And we're just letting that, I'm letting that cure a lot more now before I put that clamp on, because as soon as I let go of the clamp, it just wants to pull itself apart. So I don't like that. So we want it to stay, which means we're just going to have to let the clamp do its thing and hold it together for much longer. So we can move on to step number 8, which is step 8A is our rear bumper with our tail lights, and we've got reverse light here that are clear. They're going to go into the lens. So we've got 2 little holes in our red lens here. They're supposed to have 2 that are clear, and those are number 23, and those are, here's our clear set here. I'm looking for number 23. Looks like it's going to be these really awful looking ones that are here, and 2. Okay, so these guys have some really nasty looking flashing on them, and they just don't look that nice at all. They don't really indicate in the drawing that they're like little buckets. So I'm not sure what we're supposed to be doing with this. I guess we put the rounded part through. Something like that. And that way I guess we don't have to worry about the back edge looking kind of gnarly and just so much flash on it. I'll try and clean it up nonetheless. Get that cleaned up so it's round at least. This one's not as bad except for this big, let's say not as bad, just as I notice this great big flashing on it. Okay, so like I said, the kind of the rounded tip just pushes through there, and then that's it. Okay, there's one in. This one fits flush. This one, oh, I just pushed it in and it fit through. So, okay. Here we go. So our clear lenses are in the center. Those are our reverse lights. Then we're going to take this and we're going to put it through here, like so, and glue it to our bumper. So we get a little tab on each side and right there against the face. Doesn't really sit that flush. I think it sits better once it's on the car. Of course, getting rid of the flashing would help too. I'd say that's, if there's anything that I would say is the worst thing about this kit, is the flashing on everything. I got just about every piece has some amount of flash that I've got to clean up. Now there are a couple of little tabs sticking out the back there on this. You see those little tabs in the center? There's two of them. These guys, there and there. I don't know if those actually interfere with anything on this. I want to do a test fit. Put this on here, like so. See, even if get that lined up, that looks better. That sits in there much better now. Now I don't know if those actually have any significance at all or relevance in keeping the spacing, but it seems to all fit together just fine. So I don't think it's going to be any issue. So I'm going to put some glue in the center here and on our little peg. Get our light glued in here and on our little tabs here. They kind of touch, but they don't. They do and they don't. They should. They technically should touch. They should line it up like this. I'm going to try using a little clip. Oh, that really helped. That really helped line it up. Let's put a little more glue on there now that it's lined up. There we go. So our tail light is on the bumper, and we're going to let that sit for a minute as we work on. See, they want us to install that right away, but I don't want to do that just yet. I want to work on our front bumper now and the lights that go in that. Okay, or the front valance. How about that? Purple? No, we're not doing purple. I want to put the lights in our front. I used to work at a car dealership when I was 16 years old. When I was about 20 years old, I worked at a car dealership doing parts delivery, and we used to call these bumper cores. I used to do a lot of deliveries to auto body shops. So we've got our center lights here that are going to go in here and here, and then we've got our turn signal lights. No, are they turn signals? They call them turn signal lenses. So yeah, I guess they're turn signals. They don't mention painting them orange, but I have seen pictures online of the car, and these lights actually are orange. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some clear orange, and I'm just going to do like a little dot here and here. And rather than painting the lens itself, because the lens, I believe the lenses on the car are clear, but then they use orange bulbs, which is very common in those days. So we're just going to go doink, a little bit of orange here. So you get the idea that there's an orange bulb in there. In behind that lens. Now when that glue touches that, that's probably just going to smear the orange, and that's my hope. I don't want it to remain as a single solitary dot. And if it looks like crap when I'm done, then I will just paint the lens. So paint some clear orange over the lens. If it looks like crap when it's all done. Let's get these off the sprue. There's one. Two. You know, with this being the last step, I have a feeling I'm going to finish this today. Regardless of how long it takes, I'm finishing this kit today. Give it to my buddy tomorrow, and then he can play with it all weekend. Okay, so first thing to determine which is the front and which is the back. They're a little bit chamfered, so the chamfered side is going to go towards the car. So these are facing the way they're supposed to. I just need to see how they sit. They're going to sit like this and like this. Okay, grab my tweezers. So he's going to go in here. Like that. Then glued in. All right. Turn this over so it's easier for me. Now this one's got a little piece of, I don't know what's on it. It's like a piece of black or something. There we go. Put him in there. Push him down. Oh. He's got some kind of black on him for some reason. Knife, make short work of that. Okay. Here we go. All right. So those lenses are in. There's our turn signal lenses. I don't know if that looks accurate or not. I think they're gonna have those little orange lenses in there with a clear, or orange bulbs with a clear lens. But at the same time, you can't see it. So They're saying to paint the back of our fog lights aluminum. So I'm thinking paint the actual things, not aluminum, but something a little shinier. Like this stuff. This is much shinier than aluminum. Normally I would just paint the back of the lens, but I find I paint the back of the lens, and then when I put glue on, it just, kind of makes that paint disappear. But if we've got paint all on the inside here, maybe it won't be an issue. So just a matter of making sure I get all the way around inside here without touching the edges. At least not too much. I can go right to the edge because that's where the lens is going to be. I have tried using different stuff like the Molotel chrome to try and replicate the actual chrome bucket of the light. But like I've said before, as soon as I apply glue, that chromeness just goes away completely. The glue just dissipates it somehow and it no longer looks chrome. Of course, having learned since then that Molotow is basically not paint, it's ink, which is why it never dries, it never cures, no matter how long you leave it. And pretty much no matter what kind of clear you try to put over it, takes away the chrominess. It's great to apply if you're never going to touch the thing. But the moment you need to touch it, it's just ruined. So that's it for our clear stuff. So let's make sure our lenses are round with no flashing so that they fit. I'm actually going to use my file. It's a little bit easier to make sure there's no flash and that it's rounded. Just reposition our lens in my fingers and go around to make sure there's nothing. It does unfortunately make the sides of it a little rough, but I'd rather have rough sides with no flash than to have a nice clear side and a bunch of flash on it. Okay, that one's done. I believe so. Let's look at this guy. It doesn't look like there's any flash on it, but there's the nub where it was connected to the sprue. Of course. Of course. I think those are both ready for installation. Let's see. He dropped in very nicely. And he did too. Make sure they're both flat in there. This guy, he actually did not fit very nicely. I think he's flipped over. He's gone flat side out. but such a tight... No, he didn't. It's just the way he is. It's just the way he is, guys. Just the way he is. This guy's just fits a little tighter than him. Okay, let's get some glue in there. There we go. After all, we don't want our lenses falling out. So that's it for that. Our lenses are in, they're got the glue on them. And there we go. Okay. So we'll let that dry now. And now we can go back to our rear bumper. Our tail light nicely glued in. We're going to take our rear bumper and slide him into his spot. Just like so. Now it's a little bit hard to try and get in there and get glue into our little spots that it's supposed to do. So I'm going to apply some glue in here on each side first. And maybe right here on our little spot for the peg to go in. And I'm going to use the thicker glue for such an occasion. We'll just kind of go across there, put a little in there, and a little on there. And just for added measure, a little here, a little here. Just like that. And slide it into position. There we go. Good. She's not the best at lining up, although it lines up very nicely here in the wheel well. We've got quite a gap there. So the wheel well looks pretty good, right? I can't really complain about the wheel well. Wheel well looks good, right? But then we got a big gap back here. There's nothing I can do about that. That's just the way they got the kit made, right? Same on this side. My little repair job on this one looks pretty good. I can't really complain about that. And it lines up nicely here, and our tail light lines up good. So I can't complain about that. Our tail light's done. If the camera would focus, I mean, holy shit, man. My dual exhaust looks good. Sticking out the back, we got 2 exhaust pipes. Yeah, looks good. All right. Here's a moment we've been waiting for. Let's see how well this glue is holding on the front here. Now that it's been holding for so long, let's see. It appears to be holding. That is good news. Another thing I would like to do is run a little bit of glue along our sides here. I see that it is touching, in fact, along there. So I can take advantage of that and glue that along these 2 edges. And now we can look at our front clip. Actually, before we do the front, let's do our wing. The wing has been waiting patiently, sitting over here since last time. I've already test fit the wing half a dozen times. I know it just put glue on those. I don't know how much these 2 pegs in the center, how much that actually comes into contact, so let's just have a look. If I put the wing into position, yeah, putting the wing into position, it doesn't even, Well, with the paint and everything on there, the wing doesn't want to sit down. So I've got to scrape these pegs a little bit here. Let's just take away a couple of coats of paint off of our little mounting pegs. I'm pretty sure once I take the paint off of this, I won't have an issue with it going down into its spot. But, you know, I've got like, I don't know, a coat of gray primer and then a couple of coats of the white primer, then a clear coat, 2 clear coats, and then a coat of white paint. So yeah, getting all that on here is going to make these pegs a little thick. And then of course I've got all that same paint on the car itself, so that's going to thicken out, make our holes a little bit more narrower. And with that job done, this sits much lower, but our things still don't really sit on there. So it's just an unfortunate thing that the contour of this edge doesn't match the contour of our trunk 100%. This is all something that should have been done or checked out before painting. Hindsight being 20/20. Our passenger side looks pretty good. I get our passenger lined up. Our driver's side doesn't really do that great. It's like it doesn't go down all the way. I'm going to trim this just a hair. And that did the job. That was the trick. Okay. Let's see. Because I want to get glue into the holes, we're going to glue the pegs. And carefully line them up. And with that done, glue there. Glue there. Kind of need to hold down both sides at the same time. Our two center ones don't really come into contact with the trunk lid. I have no idea if the real car does or not. It might not. I don't know. But the wing's on, and that's the main thing. I'm going to add just a little more glue right in there. Okay, our wing is on. All right. With the wing on, I'm going to do our side view mirrors. I'm going to do those last, simply because I got to grab the car from different angles and stuff, and if I suddenly got to be careful how I hold it here, I'm probably going to knock our mirrors off while I'm trying to get the bumper on. Now, I have had the bumper test fitted, and it should sit just fine and installed. Everything just hunky-dory. It should, in theory. Yep. The trick is getting the glue in where it needs to be, where it makes contact. Now I can glue in there and there, no problem. But again, just like in the rear, I got to put some glue on here and on here. Like that. Like that. Now, I don't know if this is actually coming in contact with it, but I'm going to put a bead up in there just in case. There we go. It is a pretty good fit. I will give them this much. I've encountered many other kits that the bumpers don't line up that great. You got big gaps and stuff like that. This kit is actually pretty good. As far as that goes. And there's our front bumper installed. No, it doesn't line up perfect. Of course not, because it's a model kit. And you're almost never going to get perfect fitment. Well, I mean, I'm sure a professional modeler would. But if you're like me, and you're not a professional modeler, you're not going to get a perfect fit. But also, if you're like me, you'll think it's okay. It is one of the few front ends that doesn't really matter. So that looks great. I'm really happy with that. I'm happy with how the engine looks, but I haven't done any detailing in there. I wanted to do a little bit of detail in here and make that. Remember, at the beginning of all this, I went and did some clear coat on here. I want to do my detail on that now. So let's move that here. Let's go with dirt brown. Dirt brown. Just a little bit. Enough to soak into my brush here. And just a little bit. Say, why are you putting all these little dots? Well, I'm putting dots so that I can blend it in after. You'll see what I mean. Because I'm going to turn this into a bit of a wash, just so that under the hood it looks a bit more realistic. Because, you know, unless it's a show car that never gets fired up and never does anything, never goes anywhere, you're gonna have dirt under your hood. See what I'm doing here? I'm turning it into a wash so it really blends in. But not making it look filthy. You know, it's not an aircraft, it's not an old aircraft, it's not military or anything like that. But at the same time, it's going to look like an actual car that's been used and run, and you know, gets a little bit dirty, and it's not perfect mint looking car. Because even a car straight out of the showroom is not going to look pristine and new. There we go. Now that looks a little bit more realistic to me. Yes, I'm happy with that. Now we can focus on the mirrors. Okay, our mirrors. Mirrors go on each side, obviously, because it's not a European car or anything like that. So they fit into that little channel right there. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue I'm going to try and do this one at a time like this. I don't want to put the thick glue on. Because it will be too visible. But at the same time, I need to put enough of the thin on that it's actually going to hold. Which, to my advantage, the car has no moving parts. So there we go. We've got our driver's door mirror on, which makes it so I can't put the car on this side now, but that's okay. I'm just going to do one last little test fit here to make sure we can get that in. Should be all right. So glue along here to help it hold for me. That will hold it. Okay. And that ought to do it for our mirrors. Now I got a little bit of a smudgy thing here, so it's going to be unfortunate if he's displaying it in such a way that the passenger side is showing. So I hope he doesn't do that, because my panel liner didn't want to sit in there for some reason. I don't know why. But that is it. Guess what the last step is, guys? The last step is the hood. Our hood needs to go on. And there we have it. Our car is finished. Our Firebird is finished, guys. Done. Just like that. There's our Firebird. Ta-da! Yes. Done. Finally done. Just like that. Just like that. Oh yeah, that doesn't look too good. That kind of pulled away from there, but let's put that back up where it belongs. That's it. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this build, guys. Not sure why my front bumper wants to pull away here, so let's just add a little bit more glue to this little section here and push him back into place and hold him for a minute. I must have put some extra pressure on it somehow. But that's it. She's done. Another bird done. Yes. I keep winding up building kits that I call birds. I call my airplanes birds. I call my Firebirds birds. Yeah. She's done, guys. She's done. We got our Firebird done. Yes. She's done. Just like that, she's finished. Ta-da! Yes, all done. So, I'm not done though, because I've still got pictures to take of this thing and make it all look nice and pretty and everything like that, and upload it to my Instagram and on my X channel. And that's where you guys will find the still pictures of this thing. As I do with every project, everything I build, I take a bunch of pictures of it and I upload it to my Instagram and my X channel. And you guys can check those out by looking at the descriptions down in the link box. I could say that the proper way and say the links down in the description box. That's another way to say it. So that's going to be it. We're done. Finally. Yes. And she looks beautiful. Yes. I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you for joining me on this, and I know there's a few of you guys out there that this particular car was not your favorite thing, but yes, you said you'd follow anyway, and so I really appreciate that. So leave a comment down below if you feel like it. Hit the like button too, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate that, and we'll see you all in the next one.